Thanks for joining me to experiment with watercolour on a jelly plate. There it is on the bottom of that pile. I've been experimenting with jelly plates for a little while, but I am primarily a watercolour artist, so I thought I would play with getting some lovely prints, see if what I can get from the jelly plate using watercolour. And I'm just going to show you these because it kind of helps you understand the process and what I've been experimenting with. And then these ones, because this is watercolour paper. So I started to experiment using watercolour paper, and you can see, I was getting an effect with the watercolour paper, but more experimentation was needed. Oh, I left that in the pile to show you these beautiful musical sheets and how brilliantly they've been printing. I'm really excited about that. I've been going back in and adding little bits of detail with markers. You can see I've used these beautiful pieces of maidenhair over and over and over, getting all these beautiful effects. Today, I'm going to play with watercolour paint on the jelly print and on watercolour paper. Okay, that's just a bit of background to where I'm heading. Put them all over here on my drying rack. I've now got heaps of them. Okay, phthalo turquoise, my favourite green. I'm going to basically use red and green, and I'm just going to squeeze out fresh paint because I won't want the paint very watery in order for this to give an effect. I've squeezed out some phthalo turquoise into my beautiful spot there. This is quinacridone rose, and I'm squeezing out some fresh quinacridone rose as well. Makes it a bit faster for painting. And the other thing I am in love with using at the moment is gold. This is a watercolor gold, really old, so I thought I'd see whether or not I can. Oh yeah, wow, fantastic. That's a Holbein gold watercolor. It even looks beautiful in there. I've got a brayer as well. It's quite old. I used to use it in printmaking, so I'm hoping that that will not care. I haven't used it for years. So let's start by talking about the watercolor paper I'm going to be using. I bought it for $50 for 100 sheets, 50 Australian dollars, and it's 230 GSM, and they're basically A4, so I'm going to grab a bunch of them. And if this all works, I'll use even more beautiful paper. I'm going to experiment both with the rough side. It's actually cold press, so it's vaguely textured, and I'll also do it on the smooth side. The smooth side I've already experimented with in those ones I showed you. I was using the smooth side because it worked beautifully, but I'm going to experiment with both sides. Very, very, very exciting play today. I'm going to start with that green, the phthalo turquoise, and get a bit down. Get rid of any lumpy bits, spread it out a little. And I thought the brayer might be quite cool. I think I'm going to have to stand up to get the paint on evenly, because that's what you do with the acrylics. And also, I learnt this from using Yupo paper, or Yupo, depending on what you like to call it, that if you roll it out onto your Yupo paper with a roller, you get this beautiful, thin, fine layer. Oh, it's resisting me. Oh, it's pulling on the... oh, it's fascinating. Wonder why. Anyway, I've got a little bit of colour down. And I'm going to just get this done quickly and see how we go. Let's start with, you know what, I bet that is going to definitely require a little bit of activation. I'm going to spritz it. Oh, that's not a light spritz, is it? Bit of water, because I just don't imagine that that's going to come up without a bit of water. However, yep, I'm going to lose my detail, aren't I? This will be really fast, this one, because I'll be able to see very quickly. I'm being messy. Okay, let's give it a quick look and see whether anything is happening. Huh, there's that line. Well, that is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Needs more paint. Okay, number 1 experiment. I don't mind the look at all. The paint is coming up, that's okay. Right, pop that over there. Now let's do it again. Get this up. So it's sticking a little bit to the plate. That's kind of good, I think, because then it'll move less. This time I'm going to add a little of a spritz, go back in for more of that beautiful green, get rid of the lumps with my brush. I think it will help if it's a little wetter, just a little wetter, a little more water, and roll it out again. Maybe that was too much water. And keep going till, okay, now see if I can get it to stick to the plate. Not just balling up all over the place. Oh well. Just keep going till I get rid of some of the excess, eh? Which is kind of what you do with the acrylic paint, is you keep going till you've got a fine layer. It's just constantly balling, but that's okay. Right, stick this back on into the beautiful blue, into the beautiful blue. This time I'm not going to wet the paper. I'm going to just put it straight down. Okay. Also this time I'm going to cover it with a big sheet that I've been using for all the others. And I could just use this brayer again. No need. I'll leave the colour on there. I'm going to get my Baron. This is a Baron that comes with millions of ball bearings. Well, not millions, hundreds of ball bearings. I was a printmaker first, and I bought this from an amazing Sydney-based printmaker. Was quite fabulous for getting detail. Take off my cover sheet. Oh, that's the cover sheet as well. I've got 2 there. Now, how's that one going? Okay, sticking over there a little. But the paper shouldn't stick at all, given that it is a watercolour paper that's being applied to a watercolour paint. Interesting already. Does look a little bit like trees. I think I'll make this tree a little straighter and see if I can get something that does look a bit like trees. Anyway, good experiment. Not there yet. Okay, this time I'm going to spray this and wet it gently. So I'm going to get a sponge, wet it, evenly wet this page this time. My bottle doesn't do spritzing. I'm running out of space, so I'm just doing it in my hand. Okay, it is gently, but evenly wet because I used the sponge. Okay. Now we're going to remove these 2, see if they make any sort of a mark that you can see, and place it down. It attaches nicely. I'm going to give it a little bit of pressure again with my Baron, my ball-bearing Baron. That's kind of cool. Take off the cover sheet. Let's see if we got anything again. I can pull quite quickly and not worry about the paper sticking. Well, that's not what I expected, but really lovely. Really interesting. I think all I could do with that, though, is make a background. I don't think that I'm going to get any sort of definition that I want with these fine-leaved maidenhair. Okay, let's put that over there. I really quite like it. Okay, some more blue, more water. Spreading out to make sure there's no lumps. Let's get the barren going. That might be a better amount of water. While I'm doing that with one hand, I'm going to look here for these bigger leaves. I'm just going back and forth to, oh look, oh wow, I've got a beautiful cover there. That's cool. Okay, quick as I can, put down a couple of leaves. I do not want to wait long for that. And is it wet? Yes! Let's get this straight down. Okay, it's my cover sheet. Really rub it in. Grab the barren, ball-bearing barren. Get good contact between the watercolour paper and my jelly plate. Okay, cover sheet off. Oh, it's quite sticky. Kind of cool. I'm kind of glad about that. Okay, now I'm not worried about it sticking because it's watercolour paper, watercolour paint. I've pulled so many prints so far where the paper has come off, so that's been a great experiment. All right, look. Okay, well that's really exciting. That means I am able to print on the cold press side, so the textured side of the paper. On top of that, I have discovered that I need large shapes, and I will be able to put beautiful watercolour detail within the watercolour background. Okay, let's see if we can go for the second print. Now I do notice that, and so I'm going to take it off and turn it over there. Oh, I wonder if I should... I'll do two experiments in one. I'll put the wet ones back on. I don't know how I managed to get that extra bit there. Put this over here. I don't want it to look exactly like that one there, so I'm trying to make it look a little different down there. And that's the wet side. So, oh yeah, let's put it in from the corner. Now this is going to dry quite quickly. So again, I will get a piece of this cold press paper and gently give it an all over amount of water, just so that it's a little bit damp. In traditional printmaking, this is what you do. You wet the paper. Even though you're using oil-based inks, you still wet the paper. And what it's doing is making the fibres of the paper just a little bit soft. And I'm hoping it's going to pick up the colour better. But you're making it a little bit soft. And that means that when you put it onto your plate, you've got a better chance... Oops, sorry. You've got a better chance of getting detail because the paper's a little bit wet, which means that it's more likely to bend in around the gum leaves or whatever object you've got on there, the stencil or whatever. Anyway, let's see how this next experiment is going. Cover sheet off. I love how it's sticking a little bit. Let's peel this up and see. Oh, wow, okay, interesting. I'm just trying to bend it so that you can see it without hurting the paper. Okay, what's beautiful is the leaves turned over. Look, it goes that way. This leaf is this one here, so almost nothing happened up there. But these leaves, oh, that's just beautiful. I can let this dry and go again. That's quite lovely. This is the ghost print, and I wouldn't actually call it a ghost print myself, but I know that's the terminology that I'm listening to on YouTube. I'd call it a monoprint, not a monoprint, a monotype. I'm kind of excited about that. Okay, let's get these over here, here. That's lovely. So I seem to have hit a nice medium amount for the colour. I think on this one I'm going to put the colour onto the leaves. Let's see how we go with that. I'm going to put the colour onto the leaves, and I might change the background to be pink, or maybe a gold. Maybe I'll go for the gold now. I'm just painting them. I don't mind that there's going to be a bit of green on there. That's lovely. And then I'm going to paint this one. I'll get rid of that little sticky thing. I don't know what it is. But I'm going to put a bit of green on these ones. Little bit, tiniest bit of water, not too much. I want to try and keep the paint quite thick. And we know in watercolour that when you keep the paint thick, you also are keeping the tone dark. So that's kind of cool. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to just move them to there. They can dry a little. That's not a problem. Especially if I moisten my paper. Okay, the leaves are ready. And I'm going to go in for some of that gold. So I'm using this nice cheap brush at the moment. Let's get some of this gold going. Here. Or it's very thick. So I'm just going to massage it around. So we get no lumps, and we want just a small amount of water, so that when we get this going, we get the gold is disappearing. Is that good or bad? Oh, it's rolling out beautifully. Okay, we need this bit of, oh, look at it dissolving. It's so cool because it's watercolour. And when you're familiar with a type of paint, it's kind of cool. I'm just wetting the edges so I don't see all of that on this next print. Oh, I'm a bit excited about working this out. Okay, just roll out the gold. Roll out the gold. It's going to be really subtle. It's sticking nicely because the roller is doing what I need. These are still beautifully wet. I'm going to hang them from on high, hang them there. I don't want to touch it. And hang, oh, there's a bit of water on there, so I'm going to just dab that off. Down like so. And I'm going to get my sponge. Gently, ever so gently, put just the tiniest bit of moisture on the plate, on the paper. Oh, I just need more space, unfortunately. I've made a big mess down there, never mind. Okay, straight in. Oh, I've got contact, that's great. Here we go, cover piece of paper, more contact, and grab my Baron. Rosalind Keane, I've suddenly just remembered, that's who I bought the Baron from. Remove my cover. Okay. What's this one going to look like? The background. Oh, the gold is actually quite hard to see. The leaves look beautiful. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is too exciting. I am so pleased with that. It's just got this subtle amount of gold in the background. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to add red this time. I wonder if I can leave them in place and do red around it. That's a good idea. Okay, up onto my drying shelves. The other thing that these might be good for, or not the other thing, but like rather than just works of art, I love that, is collage. Now I squeezed out, I'm just going to wash this brush off. They are sitting so beautifully in place. I don't really want to move them. There's a bit of gold in the background. Let's get a bit more gold and put some there and some there. Get rid of any lumps, and the lumps of course are just pure paint. I'm going to go around the edges so I don't get an edge on my new print. And then I'm going to wash that off, and I also squeezed out some of this permanent rose. Actually, in particular, it was quinacridone rose. That lid's not on. Quinacridone rose, which is incredibly similar. So I'm getting rid of the lumps over here, and then I want to mix it in. I have no idea whether this is going to work or not, but this is when good stuff happens, when you start to experiment and start to think, ooh, what shall I do? All right, my lovely brayer. Let's see if we can do edges first, seeing if I can keep the colour on the plate without moving my leaves, and then see if I can get colour going around the leaves. Oh, it's going on the leaves quite nicely. I just poked my finger through the leaf. Yeah, a bit blotchy, that colour. It was a nice idea, but I think that's going to be just look blotchy colour. Yeah, it's just all, might look good. We'll see, that's for sure. Get rid of that gold down there. It's rolled out nicely once again. And I think I think wetting it gently is working out very nicely. I just want to show you what I'm doing, so it's kind of a bit difficult with a lack of space here. I made a mess. Okay. Down, trying very hard not to move it, and I think I might have, but we'll see that too. Okay, contact, grab my Baron. Remove the cover sheet. How's this looking with the pink? I love the combination of pink and green. All right, well, I don't know what I think about that. The quality of the watercolour paper may be impacting the success of this print. I don't know for sure. The colours are just all blending and becoming quite, ugh. I'm kind of getting a grey, but it's not a pretty grey. I love grey myself, but anyway, I might like it more when it's dry. Let's put it over here. These are drying nicely. Just turn them over and start to flatten them a little. It's a bit interesting. Okay, let's take this off. And I'm going to turn them over. Put that up there, that up there, And there. Get another sheet. Okay. The water is really green, so when I put this layer on, it's already got a little bit of green in it. I'm trying so hard not to bend these pages. There. Okay. Experiment number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is number 8. All right. Barren. Folding up a bit here. I don't know what that means. Ha ha! That's kind of pretty. I really like the little softness of the pink in the background. That is just calling me. It's calling me to come in and embellish. Oh, I'm going to let that dry and then I'll embellish that one, I think. If you've got any interest in knowing how the embellishment goes, please let me know. I would love to do a little video on that, so I only need one person to ask. I'm just washing my brush there. It's got gold all over it. Look at the water, it's so cool. It's got green and a bit of pink and all this gold in there. And there's my sponge. Take it out, put it into clean water. I wish you could see what I can see there. Can you see the gold rushing around? It's wonderful. All right. I bet this is going to be easy to clean up. Final one over there. And I think that one was the best one. So washing this brayer is going to be a breeze. I've got a little tub here that I'm just shoving all my stuff into. So that's just going to wash up like a breeze because it's watercolor. I won't have to even press hard. I'm going to take that off and that off. And then to clean it up, seems like a shame to waste that beautiful bit over there. So I think what I'll do is clean up using another piece of watercolor paper. Just, oh, squeezing water everywhere there. A little quick background. I'm sad about the gold. Can't see the gold, can we? Cute. Clean it up. Oh yeah, that's so fast to clean up. Lovely. Oh, I'm so pleased because I've got a beautiful range of watercolor paints and limited number of acrylic paints because I only dabble in acrylics. I just occasionally go on courses to experiment a little bit with it because acrylics are terribly convenient because they dry hard like, you know, plastic. So to store it, all I've been doing, because I've been doing this for days now, is put this plastic sheet. Do you call that mylar? I don't know. Anyway, I just put it on and protect it. Oh, I deserve a cup of tea. You deserve a cup of tea. I hope you enjoyed that and that you'll go and experiment. See you next time. Bye. I've got lots of watercolor paper, so that's just plain watercolor paper. It's quite a cheap one. And again, you can see I've kind of gotten an effect. And this one again is the watercolor paper. I was using the back of it. The paper was printing quite well because I was on the back of that watercolor paper. This is the one that I loved. it was a watercolor. It had color on it first, and it's watercolor paper. And then I thought that one was quite successful. Really, really want to try and reproduce that if I can, which that's the wonder of art, isn't it? You do something you love and you try and do it again. And this again is watercolor paper, and I'm really loving this effect. So with this one, I painted on the watercolor paper first, and then I've done a negative print using the same botanicals, and I really started to get somewhere with that. This is the watercolor paper again on the shiny side, and that I'm absolutely in love with. It's got little bits of black on it, and they were bits that came off my roller. I'm not one for cleaning up very well, and that's what happened. That's Payne's grey. These are still acrylic, but you can see where I was heading. I love that one, absolutely love that one. These were watercolor paintings again. So these were paintings I had of a moon. Oops, that's upside down. So there was a moon on a beautiful background, and I thought how beautiful it would be if I printed the maidenhair on the front, and maybe they would look like trees in front of the moon. Good idea. However, this rough textured watercolor paper did not love being treated in this, being printed, because it's a rough texture. And so, you know, I might be able to pull this one together with a marker, we'll see. And that was the other one that I did. There's the moon, you can see it, and these do look a bit like trees. So that's where I was heading, but on watercolor paper, but